What have you seen genuinely shitty people do that they thought was perfectly acceptable? You'd be surprised how many tourists don't bother to walk the 50 feet to the nearest trash can on the beach. Cigarette butts by the hundreds of thousands. Beer bottles. Cans. Dirty diapers. More plastic than you can imagine. It all just goes right on the beach. Someone else will pick it up, right? Whoa. This blew up. Glad people feel similarly. And many of you have made an excellent point. People who aren't tourists litter too. It's unacceptable to throw your shit on the beach, regardless of who you are. I'm always at the beach with my dog. I try to fill a dog poop bag with trash before we leave. While I've got the opportunity, I want to share a story. I love cleaning the beach. No matter how shitty my day has been or what I'm going through, I can go down to the beach and pick up trash. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I have an impact on my community, and it's something that nobody can take away from me. If you want to feel like you make a difference, spend an hour cleaning a public place. Make it a routine, then make it a habit. You'll be glad you did. In Vietnam, it's normal to see people throw their garbage in the river. Agreed. Once they refused to show me where the bin was and told me to throw it in the river. If you threw it in the bin, someone would have to empty it into the river later. Duck. A kid at the high school I graduated from had his friends film him, in the bathroom, pulling his pants all the way down to pee like an autistic kid who was in the bathroom at the same time, just to make fun of him. While his friends were filming this, he decided it would be funny to pee on the autistic boy and asked to be spanked. He was the kind of kid who looks great on paper, but has the eyes of a cat strangler and is cruel in person. He obviously thought there was nothing wrong with what he did because he laughed and taunted the poor kid the whole time and posted it on social media, which led to him losing a full ride to a state college for swimming and his being expelled from school. Charges were pressed and Hess currently awaiting a criminal trial to determine whether or not he'll end up a sex offender. At least he faced some consequences. Ducking asshole. Say to my wife, well, at least my baby will go to heaven. We were at a weekly group session for parents of deceased children. This woman asked my wife how our son died, and replied with that when she found out he died of an overdose. Too bad she won't be going there to see her baby. Edit, thanks for the gold and silver. Very kind of you both. Yep, someone should have told her that. Insult their children when they don't excel at X activity. Visiting back home and ended up listening to my sister beg my mom not to get mad because she had a B+. My wife told my sister how awesome it was that she had all A's and a B. Mom immediately says it's not good at all and reams my sister. It's super frustrating. I had a friend with parents like that when I was doing karate. We were like 11 and the karate school was big, so they held annual competitions. He and I end up matriculating to the top of our age division for sparring, and first place would be decided by our match. To add some context, I had been doing karate at a different dojo for a few years until I joined that one. Before my sister and I came along, he and his sister were like the shining stars of the place, if that makes sense, super competitive with lots of awards. My sister and I weren't into competitions and were really only competitive with each other. We participated in this one because we were new. Anyways, it is 3 rounds and I overwhelmed my friend in the first. He always started with the same move, so it was easy to overtake him. I remember looking at the crowd and seeing his dad, red-faced, screaming at his son, full on psycho. And the look on my friend's face was so angry too, but completely directed at himself. My parents are the kind to love me and be proud of whatever it is I do and only cared that I try. I knew everything would be okay if I lost, but I just got really bad feeling for what would happen if he lost. I let him win. Never told anybody about this. That's the first time I had ever seen an adult like that, and even back then I knew things were ducked up. Wow. You are awesome. Your parents did something right. One of my shittiest ex-friends stayed over with another friend after his parents kicked him out. My friend let him stay rent-free and he complained about everything. Complained about her cats, about not having a key, about not being allowed to stay longer when my friend had enough. He's long gone across the country and out of our lives now, thankfully. My landlord let one of his buddies crash at our house for free under the stipulation that he does chores on a daily basis. It took all of a week for him to start whining about having to do more chores than everyone else. Dude, you're living rent-free in someone else's house and the main reason you're being allowed to stay is that you do the lion's share of the communal chores. If it's that big of an issue, you can go back to living in your car. I'm sure a lot of people would kill to be in your scenario. Edit: we recently had a house meeting where my good roommate and I expressed our annoyance and concern about him obviously not looking for a job. The landlord roommate is one of those guys who is way too nice for his own good and this loser knows it. After the meeting, he's been given 30 days to get a job or at least show he's trying hard to get one. If not, he can go back to living in his car or couch surfing somewhere else. Also, I know everyone on this site thinks they're a lawyer, but I don't care enough to turn this into some giant legal battle that goes to court. Yo, for real, I'd be stoked to have that situation. Living rent-free and doing chores? There's 5 of us in this house. After a day or 2 of deep cleaning, upkeep is no problem. I'd have it spotless in 2 hours a day, including dinner and dishes 3 or 4 times as needed throughout the day. Shit, make me wear a maid outfit if needed, house will be spotless. I like the attitude, but be honest, you just want the excuse to bust out hat maid outfit. Him added comment, wow. Most points on a comment telling someone be yourself. Ho it. Up. Dress like the maid you want to be. Made my weekend. It makes me feel sexy and needed, which is more than I can say for my job. I walked in the restroom the other day, and the smell was just awful. There was only one guy in there, and he obviously just took a dump. Dude walked over to the sink, looking like he was gonna wash his hands. Instead, he cupped his hands, collected some water and took a nice big gulp and splashed the rest on his face. Edit: thanks for the gold, D. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, it was definitely a learning experience for me, but I hope I never have to witness that again. Treat the elderly in nursing homes badly. I work at a nursing home, and while I have a lot of awesome coworkers who are very good at their job, I also have a lot of trashy ones. To give an example, I one time overheard one of the patients say to a coworker that she really needed to go to the toilet. This lady was in a wheelchair and needed help. My coworker said, "Well, you're wearing a diaper, aren't you? Those can hold up to 8 liters. Just pee already." I was shocked. My coworker went to have her smoke and I immediately helped the lady in the wheelchair. Yes, she did wear a special tennis pants, but a lot of my coworkers don't seem to understand that these kind of pants are to prevent accidents, not to encourage incontinence. The sad thing is, this kind of things are very hard to prove, especially when the patients have dementia like they do in the nursing home I work at. I have had multiple conversations with the manager about this kind of things, resulting into absolutely nothing done about it. I think the shortage in staff doesn't help with this problem. Edit: just a quick note, I got multiple reactions of people saying I should take it to the authorities. I have been on the verge of doing that multiple times, but you all are right, I will take action to report this neglect and abuse. This can't go on any longer. Thanks for all your responses. My grandmother had dementia. My mom went to visit her and she was horrified that she hadn't been bathed and had been sitting in her own feces for 3 days. She also had huge bed sores from sitting for so long. My mom and my uncles tore that place a new asshole. She passed away not long after. Someone's final weeks shouldn't be like that. My grandmother was also discovered to have a bed sore so bad her sacrum bone was showing through. She also had 2 broken femurs and was bleeding out internally from them. She died a few days later from sepsis. We're suing the nursing home along with 6 other families whose loved ones were similarly abused and/or neglected and subsequently died. Great Falls, Montana. I am so sorry to hear this. There really aren't any words. Using a disposable barbecue on the beach and leaving it half buried in the sand for someone to step on with their bare feet. Happens all the time on the beach near me. Working as a bagger in a grocery store. I was bagging a customer's groceries like any other day. When I bagged some raw meat, I noticed my hand was sticky. Looking at it, I had what looked like blood on my hand. Thinking it was the raw meat and the packaging had a cut, I checked it to see if we should get the customer a different package. The customer saw me doing this and smiled, informed me that the package was not damaged. The blood was, in fact, his. As he showed me his hand with a giant open cut on it. After discovering the horror, me and the cashier realized the blood was everywhere, and his wound was still leaking blood onto the ground. The customer laughed the entire time. Edit: thanks for my first silver stranger, thanks to everyone for my most upvoted comment yet, and thank you everyone for the happy cake days.